Hi everyone, I'm Maddie Beanie and this is the Safina Center. We're a conservation nonprofit that believes protecting nature starts with understanding our relationship with it. Through storytelling, science, and the arts, we explore the connections people have with the living world around them. And on this podcast, I will be sitting down with individuals from all walks of life to discuss how nature has shaped their lives and what those stories may teach us about our own place in the world. So, without further ado, welcome to the Safina Center Podcast.
I'll give you a good shot of Happy while he's here.
Awesome. He's so cute. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Safina Center Podcast. My name is Maddie Beanie, and our show is really focused around one big question: what drives our relationship with the natural world? So today I'm joined by Maria Bertrand, the woman behind Finding Happy, and we're going to be talking just a little bit about her relationship with animals, her relationship with healing, and how this one little sparrow has unexpectedly changed the course of her life. So, welcome, Maria. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Excited.
I'm very excited. Just to start, just for any listeners who may not know about you or about Happy, do you want to give just a really brief introduction to who Happy is, what your story is with the two of you?
Sure. Happy is my pet sparrow who lives with me. I found him in the middle of the street when he was about a day old in 2020, and he was injured. I had no clue how to care for a sparrow, or I didn't even know he was a sparrow when I found him. I had no clue what kind of bird he was. And it was middle of the pandemic. I had lost all my income. I had just gone through a breakup. I had a bunch of things going on that were unpleasant, as did the world. So that was just a bad time. And I found this little guy in the middle of the street, and all he wanted to do was live. That was his sole purpose for being here. And his sole purpose had a way of dropping me into the present moment because I became his caretaker. I couldn't find a nest anywhere. He was just in the middle of the street. He was being attacked by an adult sparrow. So yeah, I just scooped him up and ran home. And 6 years later, here we are. We have a children's book out. We have a documentary streaming right now on Gaia, and we'll soon be releasing elsewhere. He is just a magical little flying Velcro ball.
I love that. This was actually a thought I had just a couple minutes ago. I realized you have had Happy for 6 years.
Yeah.
Is that like a normal life expectancy for sparrows?
So in the wild, their life expectancy is 4 to 5 years, but in captivity, they can live a lot longer. They just, prey animals tend to have shorter lifespans outside. So yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Before Happy entered your life, what was kind of your relationship with nature and animals before that? Did you always kind of feel connected with nature, or is that something that came later?
Oh no, I've always been connected to nature. My mom said I came out of the womb different, just connected to all the little creatures, all the little things. I didn't feel any kind of connection to like baby dolls as a child, so I would walk caterpillars in a stroller.
I love that.
Yeah, I would literally walk caterpillars around the block. It made more sense to me. They're alive. Like, it's not a plastic doll. I don't know. So I've always, from the moment I can remember, have had a really intricate connection to nature. Yeah.
And so you've always had this connection, but then you've obviously stated that you found Happy during a very difficult, very low point in your life. Hello.
I did.
There's the star.
He's going to show you his bum if he sits there. He enjoys doing that on the camera, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. He's welcome in the shot. Talking about him.
Yes.
You found Happy, you said, at a very difficult point in your life. Have you ever thought about kind of how differently your life could look had you not stopped and picked him up, or like what different path?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was so lost. I was so just I was so far away from my heart center and felt so unbelievably disconnected to everything, myself. And then when you lose your connection to yourself, you lose your connection to all the things you love, to nature and all the things. Like when I'm around animals, it doesn't matter what I'm going through. I will drop into that present moment. It really, it's just how I am. But if I hadn't have found him, I wouldn't have had him in this. I was renting a room. I had just gone through a breakup and moved out of my home, and I was renting a room. And so I was just in this room all day long, just spinning out. But I had Happy there, and we learned how to communicate. He learned how to play fetch. I mean, I could see how much he wanted to communicate with me, and it shook me out of my just downward spiral. And I mean, I think about where I could have gone, but it's hard to know that because you don't know how things shake out. But I was not okay. I wasn't okay. And he helped me find my Happy again.
Do you have a specific memory or moment that you can think of where you realized that you and Happy were kind of helping each other instead of just you rescuing this little bird?
You know what it was? That was actually, and there's so much, we talk a lot about the detriments of social media and how it's, how it can be a dark place for people, for teens and children and stuff if they go down the wrong rabbit holes. However, you can also find a strong sense of community. And in that time, I started sharing Happy online with other people. And it's the messages that I was getting from other people that it was absolutely amazing, because I felt such a disconnect to a lot of things and to other humans. And then I was getting messages like, I'm going through chemo, I can't see my family, and Happy made me smile today. Like things that were just so unbelievably heartbreaking and heartwarming all at the same time. And it made me realize like, oh wow, he really is lifting me out of my dark space on so many levels, not even just that present moment of being with him and feeding him, but these connections to other people. And it gave me a sense of purpose. And that's such a big thing for, I think, most humans, is to just feel needed and wanted and feel a sense of purpose. And he gave me all of that at my darkest time. Yeah.
You've been very open about grief and about kind of feeling lost in these dark periods of your life. So many people have resonated with that and with your story with Happy. Why do you think that caring for just another living being can be so healing to a person?
Gosh, it takes you outside of your own grief. It takes you outside of yourself. It goes back to that sense of purpose and feeling needed, and it's contribution and connection. And connection, I mean, all of these things we're learning as we dive deeper into health and wellness from a more existential state rather than like just doctors and nurses, which I love. I'm a biology major. I'm all about science. So however, there's a lot more to it, to health and wellness and stress levels and all that. And so there's studies that have been done about connections to animals specifically. I mean, connections to other humans. We know this. We know that connection to other humans, it contributes to longevity. Like good relationships can contribute to longevity, and loneliness can contribute to the opposite. So that sense of connection is absolutely amazing. And when you're caring for an animal, it's a whole different thing. I mean, I've had so many people come up to me and say, I wouldn't say this to anyone else, but I felt more pain when I lost my dog than when I lost my father, or when I lost, and they're like, and I loved my dad, and they almost feel shame and guilt around it. And I'm like, but are these little creatures, they take nothing from us, and they fill our mundane moments of the day with magic. And that's pretty amazing. I mean, I'll be sitting on the computer working, and Handy lands and puts his little bumhole right on the camera, and I'm all of a sudden laughing in the middle of my day. So yeah, I feel like there's so much there when you care for a little creature that contributes to just really good feelings, like to endorphins.
Yeah. Your story in general is such a testament to how healing can come in ways that are not expected. And I have this question that's maybe a bit more on almost the spiritual side. I don't know how you'll
Love
think
it.
about it,
Okay.
but do you kind of think that nature has this way of finding people when they need it?
Yeah, but I also think it goes both ways. Just like communication, you have to be listening. So if you're yeah, I know, right? Hi, buddy. You have to be listening. And like, I mean, he listens to me all the time, right? He's constantly listening. And what he's taught me is to listen. I know the birds outside. Like that little bird that I just sent you a video of that I found on the ground.
Hmm.
That's the second time I found today. The first time I saw a male house finch on the fence and he was chirping a consistent chirp. I knew something was wrong. So I went outside to check, and sure enough, it was one of his little babies that was out of the nest. So there's so much going on that we are completely oblivious to. And a connection to nature doesn't even take that. It just takes going out and just touch grass. You know, as people say, touch
Yeah.
grass. That funny little saying is like so powerful. Go touch grass. Really, seriously, go touch grass.
No,
Um,
it
I
works.
think that nature is there for us if we're just willing to live a symbiotic relationship with it, which is not what humans are doing right now. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the work that you do and the videos and things that you post don't really separate our own kind of human emotional well-being from connection with nature. That you don't really separate those two things. So, do you think that modern day life encourages people to be disconnected from the environment and nature around them?
I think it does. I think it does to a degree. I'm hoping that it actually pushes people so far that the pendulum swings the other way and people just dive back into nature and disconnect from socials and all that and really take time to do that. Um, it can legitimately save your mental health. I mean, it really can. I'm not saying it always will, but it can make a massive difference in your day, your mood, and those little things stack up. Just like little things that bring you down stack up. The little things that lift you up stack up too. Going for a walk and like look up in the trees, smell the flowers. I always stop and smell people's flowers when they're like the roses and stuff. And I'm sure people watch me and they're like, that lady's weird. She's like smelling all the flowers. But it's kind of nice. They're right there. They smell so pretty. And all of the senses that we have, nature can like flood us with so much good stuff. And we just walk around not paying attention to it a lot of the times. I think nature's very much there for us. Yeah.
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 Is that one of the reasons you decided to share your story with Happy? Because this is an experience and a relationship that you very easily could have kept to yourself, but you have turned it into a book and a film and this entire community. So what was it that kind of made you think that storytelling was such an important thing and this was something you wanted to share?
Ooh, storytelling has been so. I've been in entertainment for a while. I started as an actress, but I didn't feel purposeful doing it, which is weird. I'd be on set, I'd book the role, I'd be on set, and I'd be like, something's missing constantly. And then when I discovered that it was the story, it was the writing, and I used to write, but I was born and raised in Montreal. I learned how to read and write in French, and then when I went to high school, which starts in the seventh grade for us, I wrote my first essay, and I knew nothing about English grammar or anything, and I wrote on the cover SA. That's what I thought. Like, I didn't even know. And I got a horrible mark. Because my grammar was so bad. And it shut me down from writing. I used to write poetry. I used to write a lot of stuff. And so I always loved storytelling and kind of forgot that part of myself. I just went into sciences, sports, all the things that felt easier to me. And then when acting came around and then I switched into storytelling, I'd been writing, before I made Finding Happy, the documentary, I'd been writing screenplays for over a decade.
Oh, wow.
And I just couldn't get my foot in the door. I just couldn't. And I was writing stories that mattered to me, that I felt like, whether it's a comedy or something dark, they had a purpose or a message or whatever it was behind them. And then along comes Happy. And I still didn't think about making a movie per se, but sharing his story was such a moment of connection for me, and it was helping me and it was helping other people. And my gosh, like, how could I not? It wasn't even a conscious choice of, I'm going to build a community. It was just like, oh, this feels so good. I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to share his story. I'm going to make people smile. I'm going to like and that was, it wasn't even a conscious thing. And then the documentary came about because a producer came to me and said, I would like to make your story into a movie. And that relit the spark of, oh, right, that's what I've been doing for 10 years and trying to share that. So Happy has literally allowed me to live out every life dream I've ever had. I have a children's book, a movie. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Was it scary at all? Like when you first, because you have developed such a large following and it's from a story that is incredibly personal to you. So was it scary at all, or was this something that you always knew, like, no, this was what you were being called to do?
No, it was terrifying. I hated it. I hated it. And I did my first sit down interview where I cried because I'm talking about moon, and it took me 2 years to even put that in the movie. I was like, that's not going in the movie. I didn't want anyone to see that. I didn't want it in the movie at all. And I'm still friends with my best friends from high school and childhood. And one of my screenings out here at the Glendale Film Festival for Finding Happy, my high school friends came. My best friend Chris from high school came. Steve, my other best friend like, these guys are literally know me from high school, and they came with their wives. They flew out from Toronto to LA to come to this screening. And after the screening, Chris, he knows me so well. He's known me since the 9th grade, how I don't open up. I don't like showing emotion. It hasn't been my thing. And he was like, go big or go home, huh? And I was like, I know, it's terrifying. And then he gave me a hug and he said, if you ever feel that way again, because I go into like the dark feelings, he goes, if you ever feel that way again, you call people, you call me. And I was like, yeah. So there's this beauty in opening up where it's not a burden. People actually want to show up for you. Yeah. It's a blessing. Yeah.
I think so many people have kind of a similar story to you in Finding Happy. You have created this crazy large community online, and so many of those people who follow you resonate with your story in some way. And I'm just curious, like, why do you think that these videos and these experiences of human-animal bonds resonate so deeply with people? And what do you think your audience and the people who follow your story are really kind of responding to?
I'd like to believe that ultimately humans are led by love. We're taught to lead by fear. And human-animal bonds are pure love. There's no... Even if you're scared when you're meeting an animal for the first time or whatnot, it's just love. It's like there's there's so much there. I think that people resonate with them because of the purity, the simplicity of the relationship. There's nothing complex about a human animal bond, really, because animals are very upfront. If you're listening, they're very upfront about how they're feeling, what they're trying to tell you. And so the purity of seeing a relationship like that and connections like that, like various connections, I think people think are so magical, but there's also a knowing that they could have them themselves. So like anybody could have a relationship with a sparrow the way I have with Happy if they have the same circumstances, and if they take all the time that I take daily, continuously, to keep the bond going. Yeah. It's a daily thing. So I think people enjoy, I think it brings people back to just a really innocence and a childhood and a purity of just, oh wow, it just is. There's no agenda.
Yeah. So you take care, obviously, of Happy on the day-to-day, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you also have a chameleon.
I do. He's awesome.
He is awesome. But how have taking care of these animals changed the way you move through your world on the day-to-day? You've mentioned how Happy is able to center you to a present moment. Are there any other changes that you've noticed on how you just go about life now taking care of these little guys?
Yeah, I mean, Happy, it is interesting because Happy fills a big space of having a companion at home. So I'm quite comfortable at home with Valentine's a lot more quiet, a lot more chill, but he asks to come out and sit on me, and I respect when he wants to and when he doesn't. Um, I think animals have a tendency of doing that, of like filling voids that could otherwise be there. With Happy, I don't travel as much and stuff just because it's a little trickier to find people to watch Happy, even though they just come over, feed him, and then leave. It can be a little tricky. I have dear friends, Drew and Derek. They come over and they feed him. They love it, and they spend an hour with him, chilling with him, and it's really adorable. Yeah, but how my day to day, I mean, I have to buy all fresh foods for Happy. I have to buy live insects for Valentine. Valentine has a whole misting system and live plants in his enclosures, so I have to care for those. And he has special UV lighting and then a heat lamp. So there's things. But day to day, yeah, it's more about buying the food and having fresh food available, cooking quinoa and amaranth and all the things for Happy. Yeah.
He eats better
Egg,
than I do.
egg and eggshell. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's so cool how you keep the way you talk about your animals with Valentine. You had said that, he asks you to come out. And you were saying earlier about how you heard the call of this house finch and you were able to identify that it was a call that he was saying something was wrong. How much do you think you have been able to learn? How much do you think Happy and the other animals you've cared for have taught you about animals that maybe the everyday person doesn't really know? Like, I personally would not have known that, this finch was saying something's wrong. Is that something you learned from Happy caring for him?
It is, yeah. And it's all because I started just paying attention. And I take his verbal cues and then I learn, and then you just kind of attach it to the birds outside and they might sound a little different, but you can kind of feel the tone behind it. I know that sounds really weird, but yeah, you can just feel the tone behind it. I mean, it's like my outdoor squirrels. I have two that are really sweet. There's others that are really skittish that I know I can tell right away if they're going to be crabby and skittish and like, it's just like a person though. You meet a person, they have that total frenetic energy and you're like, whoa, hey, okay, let's take a breath. Same thing with animals. It's the same thing, and
Yeah.
but my little girl, my female squirrel who comes, she's so calm and gentle energy and I can rub her little nose. She doesn't like her butt rubbed, so I don't rub her butt. Like I just know, like they're, yeah.
You learn them like people do, or like a
That's
normal
the
person.
thing. Yeah, and if you go into it with that understanding that they all have personalities and you can get to know them, then you're paying attention. You're paying more attention than 97% of the people to begin with. That's the thing. So it's the starting point of, oh, they all have personalities and they all want to communicate with me. Like, don't touch me. I'm scared of you. Oh, wow, I like that. What you got to eat? Like, they'll be communicating with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that understanding and compassion towards animals, showing those emotions towards animals, changes the way that we treat humans, like we treat each other as well? Do you think those two things correlate?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. People compartmentalize pretty well. I feel like kindness is compartmentalized. Like people are nice to dogs and then they're not, they think squirrels are rodents and they're, you know what I mean? Or possums are a great example, which are just the most, I love possums so much.
They're so
And
cute.
they're so cute. They're so beneficial to our environments. They have the shortest lifespans of any mammal their size. Yeah, it's like they're just these little creatures who they play dead when they get scared. They don't even attack. They play. I'm like, why are we so scared of possums? Like, it's so funny. So, wait, what was the question?
The way we treat animals, does that
Yes.
kind of correlate to how we treat each other?
Yeah. I don't know. I do think kindness is compartmentalized. So I do think that we will, look at the way, racism is a great example. We compartmentalize kindness to different races, like humans do. I don't, but humans do. So or not all, but some, so I feel like kindness is very much compartmentalized and I don't think it deserves to be. I think it shouldn't be, but,
I agree. No, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
That's I always think about either you like animals or you don't, It's not, I didn't think about, some people hate possums, but they'll love on
Yeah.
cats and dogs and things like that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Do you think, what are some and this can be relevant to Happy, like small birds, or just kind of any animals in general. What are some misunderstandings that you think people have about either raising animals or just encountering them out in nature?
I mean, I think the biggest misunderstanding is that they're not sentient and that they don't form familial bonds and that they don't, I mean, familial bonds, the bond Happy's formed with me is incredible. The bond Happy's formed with the people in my life who he knows well is incredible. So it's not reserved to just our dogs and cats. I mean, these are all animals if we're just willing to give them a chance, you know. There's a really beautiful word. It's a French word, apprivoiser, and it doesn't. There's no direct translation in English. And apprivoiser, it really at its core means to befriend an animal. It's not to tame or to own, or it's literally just to befriend an animal. And it's such a pretty word. I wish there was a word in English for apprivoiser, but maybe we should just start using apprivoiser in English.
I will. I'll put that in the vocabulary now.
Perfect. I love that.
What you said, Happy, it's amazing the relationship that he's formed, not just with you, but with people in your life. I think there's been a very similar thing with Carl Safina and the owl that he raised, Alfie.
Yes.
It's incredible to see not only the trust that Alfie has in Carl, but also if he has someone over, Alfie will trust that person because she understands that Carl trusts this person.
Yeah.
Is there something like what do you think when you were raising Happy surprised you the most about your relationship with him? Or is there something that he taught you that you weren't really expecting from just this tiny little bird?
The thing that surprised me the most is how much he looked to me to form a bond.
Mm.
It was constant. They thrive on, they're very social creatures. And so to him, family bond is really important.
Yeah.
And he was constantly trying to bond with me. And even in moments where he's like attacking my glasses because he sees a reflection, he's actually trying to communicate something. And so it's constant trying to, when I'm opening cupboards and he's going in every cupboard I open, I'm like, Happy, get out. And it's frustrating, but all he's trying to do is say like, hey, is this a good spot where we should lay an egg? Is this a good spot where we should lay an egg? Like it's constant communication. And that really surprised me, just how much there is in there in this little tiny feathery body. Like
Yeah.
how much personality and soul and all the things. Yeah. And wisdom that's been passed down,
How would you describe Happy's personality in
Oh
one word?
gosh. Complex.
Complex.
Dynamic, moody. I mean, he will turn on a dime. He will be attacking my hand because I'm out. If I go outside and feed the birds and come in, he's eerily quiet, and I know. Oh, he's so jealous. And then he'll literally attack my hand
Oh my gosh.
until the point where he's out of breath. Like it's terrifying because I'm like, dude, you need to breathe. Yeah, I recorded it this morning. It's hilarious, but also terrifying. And then he's fine. 2 minutes later, he's on my shoulder just singing to me. And I'm like, little dude. Like, yeah. They're very in the moment. Very in the moment. Yeah.
My favorite videos that I've seen from you is the one of you talking about how you and Happy have learned to communicate. Like he
Yeah.
understands specifically like the food that you are offering him. I
Yeah.
think that is so fascinating
Yeah.
that he understands so many words and understands so many questions. Is that something that just developed like over time, or is that something you kind of had to train him to do?
It wasn't really training. It was again just me listening and watching, because I would see that he was understanding things. I could see like he would tap the top of a container if he wanted something, or if I'm drinking water, I know when he wants water. Like I know whether he's tapping a bottle that I'm drinking out of, or he sits on the faucet. Like he has these little cues that I pay attention to, and yeah, it's really wild. It's fascinating. So it was more of just it was a very mutual thing, us learning how to communicate. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, he'll probably, Bubba's, do you want a wormy worm? Do I even have wormy worms? Oh, I do. I
He's
have
gonna say
I have
teddy.
Valentine's girls. Bubba's, do you want a wormy worm? Come here. Hi.
That's
Hi, my
so
daddy.
awesome.
Yeah. Here, let me see if there's a wormy worm in here that I can feed him. Go on. Up. Wait, please. I know, buddy. I know. Wait. I think this is one. Oh, you got it. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So there, yeah. So he fully knows. He knows what's going on. Yeah. He's like, thanks for the worm. See
Now
ya.
gone. He's fully comfortable. He's the roommate.
Yeah. Oh God. No, he's like the master of the house. I'm the roommate.
As long as y'all have an understanding, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think your relationship with Happy has made you believe, or has your relationship with Happy changed your beliefs on connection, specifically like human and nature or human animal connection?
I think we're much more, I think what he's made me realize, like I've always been connected to nature, but we're much more connected than we even know. So like, ancient teachers of wisdom who in tribes and communities that were connected to nature, very much deeply rooted in nature, their culture and everything, I think they understand it. I think Western civilization, we have removed that from our plates, from our palates, from our minds, from our consciousness a little bit. So we're a little far removed from that. And that's something Happy brought me even closer to, was really understanding that we are so one with all the living little creatures outside and stuff. It's a fascinating thing, that it's a really fascinating thing, because I just walk outside and it feels like magic. No matter where I am, I'm in the middle of a city and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, there's that, there's this, there's that. My friends know it. They're like, oh, if we're walking with Maria and she sees a bug, it's done.
No, but you're right. I do the same thing.
Perfect. Perfect.
I think this was just kind of going back to something you mentioned earlier. You have a biology degree. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
I have a health science degree. I was a bio major, so not really animal related. Yeah, but
No, but you were a bio major.
yeah,
And then you also said that for the last several years you were an actress. And you were doing these films, but it's through kind of an environmental lens, through Happy. So you live kind of right at the intersection of like art and science at the same time.
yeah.
And I'm just curious what you think about the relationship between art and science. Like, so many people think those two fields are opposites, and some people think that, you need the two to do any good with either of them. I'm curious what your relationship with those two fields are.
I think we need them both. I think both of them show progression in humanity. I think if we remove one and we skew too far over on one side, if we just remove art, which feels like it's happening more and more, and it feels like we're removing both, which is kind of crazy. I don't even know what's going on. But if we remove art and we just solely lean on science, I think there's a huge disservice. I mean, one of the biggest disservices science did to animals is saying they're not sentient. That is one of the biggest disservices that science, I'm still mad at science for that. Like, how dare they? And so I think that when they work together, that's when it can be the most powerful. We have scientists are amazing, and science is great for many reasons. And art is just, art, we're human, we're creative beings. So yeah, I think that we need them both.
Do you think that storytelling through either your books or your films and things like that, storytelling in general, can change the societal views of nature or of these conservation issues?
1,000%. I think storytelling is one of the most powerful means of communication, of connection that we have in our lifetime. And it's so powerful because we have so many ways to get our stories out to other people now. and that can be for good or not so good. So the storytelling is unbelievably powerful, and yeah, I think it's, if not the most powerful thing that we have at our fingertips at the moment.
I agree. I have, for the theme for this podcast, at the end of each interview, I have the goal of asking each guest the same 3 questions
Okay.
to get a collection of opinions and things like that.
Okay.
One of them, you gave a pretty similar answer to. You answered a similar question. But is there something you wish more people understood about their relationship with nature?
I wish that people would take the time to connect. I wish that I feel like one of the biggest plagues in our society is disconnection. And I do wish that people would take more time to connect with the living creatures around them. The relationships and the bonds that we can form with nature and creatures like Happy Valentine, our dogs, our cats, should show us how powerful that is. And yeah, that would be my wish. I wish it's just people would just take the time. You know, we get stuck in these rat races. Most people I know are working 2 jobs now. It's so imperative to take the time to just connect, disconnect, and then connect with nature. Yeah.
What do you think fuels that disconnection that so many people have with the environment?
Oh man. I don't think there's a disconnection being fueled. Like, I think it's more that priorities are off. I think that society has been set up in such a way that it almost forces us to connect to work and to the other things in our lives. And that just automatically creates a disconnection with nature. In order to connect, like, yeah, I think that people just aren't connected to begin with to even create a disconnect. I think it's just society has pushed us in this way. I mean, Carl says it really well in the film. He says, it's my favorite moment. That's why it's like the turning point for the final act. He says in the film, you know, we don't paint cubicles and cell phones on babies' walls. We paint animals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Because there's such an innate, beautiful connection, and we know that fills our heart and soul. It's just society has pushed us in a different direction. So
yeah. That wasn't one of my 3. I just randomly popped in my brain. But thank you. The next one is, what emotion do you personally most associate with nature?
Peace.
I agree. I have the same word.
Yeah. Because peace encompasses like that happy, that joyful place. When you're peaceful, it's all, yeah,
Yeah.
kind of encompassing.
And then the last one is, what is one of either your earliest or your favorite memories of you and nature?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I used to spend all my days outside. I would just be outside with, I don't even know one. Oh my gosh, what is one? Happy's flying around. I don't know. I mean, like so many memories, like so many images flood my brain when I think about that, from like being at summer camp when I was 7 and just picking blueberries in a blueberry field, and it's just the sunlight coming through the trees. And I was 7, and I just remember it feeling like magic, like just. And then another memory is being in the forest at the end of the street. My mom still lives in the same house, and being at the forest at the end of the street and being able to visibly see each snowflake landing on a wood fence. And it was like this moment of, gosh, and I used to drive to the Morgan Arboretum and play with the animals. Oh, there were so many things. There's so many. I don't know.
They're all wonderful. It's all magical.
Yeah.
I love that kids when you're a child, you see the world in such this like whimsical, magical way. I
Yeah,
think we all need to get back to that.
I still do.
Good.
That's why I
I'm
go
trying
outside
to do
and pet
that.
squirrels.
Yes, befriending all the squirrels.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is all the questions I have for you. Do you have any final messages, final promotions, anything that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Well, Finding Happy is available for screenings, for educational screenings and home screenings, but we love the educational screenings. There's a kindness toolkit that can be downloaded along with the film for classrooms. So that's fun. And then the children's book is also great for the itty bitties. It's a children's picture book that does deal with grief, which I've spoken at various schools for. So that's really fun too. So I'll speak at schools. I have a I have the book where we can project it onto a big wall, and it's really fun. It's really fun. Fun way to broach the subject of grief with the little itty bitty kids.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Maria, for joining us. Thank you also so much to Happy.
Yeah.
Pass
My
that
bubbles.
message along for stopping in.
I
Um,
will.
oh, yeah. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate you. Bye.